Back at the Hard Rock Hotel Riviera Maya for the second semifinal of the night in the Cancun Challenge. Number 17 Purdue takes on Utah State. South of the border for Holiday Hoops, Cancun Challenge, second semifinal is upon us. Purdue, Utah State, the number 17 ranked team in the country, takes on the Aggies of the Mountain West. Our first semifinal tonight, Auburn holds on for a 2-point win over Texas Tech. Auburn will play in the championship tomorrow night on CBS Sports Network. Texas Tech in that third place game tomorrow night. Thad Anderson, Doug Gottlieb back for game 2 tonight. Doubleheader tonight, doubleheader tomorrow. Big fun at the Hard Rock Hotel Riviera Maya. Purdue, they've tested themselves once sternly this year with number 3 Villanova, losing by 3 points. Purdue, one of the best front courts in the country.
Are you aware of Greek mythology?
Absolutely.
You ever heard of Cerberus?
No.
Cerberus is the multi-headed dog, right? And that's really what you have in the front line for Purdue, a multi-headed, vicious dog. You got Vince Edwards, who can play the small forward and the power forward. You got Biggie Swanigan, who can play the power forward and center. And then you got big Isaac Haas inside, who get with the ball around the bucket, and you're going to get buckets. It's a three-headed beast that you have to stop if you want to slow down the Boilermakers here in Cancun, which, by the way, is Mackey Arena South.
That's right. Love the education tonight. Thank you for the additions. Utah State of the Mountain West Conference. They have a senior, a preseason All-Mountain West selection. Jalen Moore will lead them.
He's one of those 5 or 10 best players in the country who you probably never heard of. But after watching him tonight, you're like, wow, I like this guy. I want to follow his career. He's known for the afro. Of course, his dad was a star. He just passed his dad on the all-time scoring list at USU. He's played the power forward, played small ball his whole career. He's going to play small forward here tonight. He's a scoring machine, and he's got to carry the Aggies if they want to take down the Boilermakers tonight.
Purdue had to battle to get past Georgia State. They take on Utah State tonight from Cancun. Semifinals of the Cancun Challenge.
Basketball on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by Hard Rock Hotel Riviera Maya, an all-inclusive experience. HRHRivieramaya.com. And by Triple Crown Sports, destination locations, signature memories, professional staff. Get in the game at triplecrownsports.com.
Starting lineups tonight: Purdue, Thompson, Matthias, Haas, Edwards, and Swanigan for the Aggies of Utah State. Rector, McEwen, Barnaba, Moore, and Janasek. Those are the 10 who are out there now. The floor is populated with 5 Boilermakers, 5 Aggies. Time for semifinal basketball from the Cancun Challenge. Purdue wins the tap in the Road Grays, the designated visiting team in this neutral site game. Utah State playing defense in the white uniforms. Drive to the basket, shot and miss for Vincent Edwards. Utah State chance to take the lead.
Well, Vince Edwards has struggled this year, and look, he's more natural at that power forward position where he has a mismatch. He's got to make those layups.
Aggies lob to Jalen Moore. Kobe McEwen delivered it.
A beautiful pass from the freshman Kobe McEwen to his star forward, Jalen Moore.
Traveling call. Isaac Haas.
I mean, take a look here as Vince Edwards gets a back screen. But see, that's the job of Isaac Haas. He has to bump that cutter. Instead, he's just caught ball watching, standing in the middle of the lane. No effect on the man with the fro, Jalen Moore.
Aggies, a little spring in their step. Drive past Haas, can't get the shot up, and Shane Rector let it go.
Now, Rector tried to draw the foul, and the officials weren't having it.
Matthias, jumper is good, just inside the arc, 2-point shot, converted for Dakota Matthias.
Dakota Matthias has everything but an athletic burst, meaning if you give him space, he can really shoot. He's a very good passer. Because the problem is he needs space created by those screens in order to get the shot, get a pass up.
3 try for the Aggies. Gore Barnaba missed it. There's a whistle and a foul in the paint against the Aggies. Utah State's first foul. And that's on Gore Barnaba. Purdue head coach Matt Painter, 12th season at the helm for the Boilermakers, 13th overall as a head coach.
Yeah, spent that 1 year at SIU and then was the head coach in waiting at Purdue. He's done a fabulous job with the Boilermaker program.
3-time Big Ten Coach of the Year. Make you look good when your players will do that for you. 3-point drain, and Purdue has their first lead of the game.
P.J. Thompson, diminutive guard. Guard play has been the key for Purdue. It's been the ceiling maker for Purdue because their bigs the past couple years have been outstanding.
Norbert Janicek set a screen on Matthias. Kick across. Gore Barnaba. Too strong. Barnaba missed it. Matthias has the board. It's P.J. Thompson taking the handles. And Swanigan traveled. So we saw a Haas travel in their first possession and a Swanigan travel.
Biggie Swanigan he has a great set of legs and very good feet. And when he's guarded by Barnaba, Barnaba can shoot on the perimeter, but he can't guard in the perimeter. He can get that all day. Just has to make sure that he's sound with his footwork and he doesn't travel.
Here's another whistle. A little different than our previous game. The whistles weren't out early. Now we're early on the whistles here and a lot of interior whistling.
It's going to be an interesting battle for Vince Edwards. If Vince Edwards, he couldn't guard Josh Hart. Now, look, Jalen, when they lost to Villanova, and Josh Hart is basically a 6'4" kind of combo guard. That's a tough cover. He should be able to guard Jalen Moore.
Shooting over Haas was Janicek. The 7'2" Haas denies and rebounds. You see big number 44 for Purdue, the junior center Isaac Haas out of Oaks Bluff, Iowa. Oaks Bluff, Alabama. That's a 7'2" interior.
And Janicek called for a little touch foul, as you pointed out. They let him play a little bit last game. So far, not so much.
3 fouls called in the first 3 minutes of action. Swanigan short on the shot. He was bumped, and we're going to see our first free throws of this second semifinal.
That was a tremendous post move. Watch Caleb Swanigan. Catches, takes a look, no double team, goes to work. And I don't know who that foul is on.
That's a problem. Gore Barnaba, he's got 2.
Yeah.
Second foul for Barnaba.
Well, this should allow the Aggies to go small. Now, I don't know how they're going to guard Haas inside. Haas, I think, is cut, so he's going to have to go to the bench real quick and get taped up. But this will allow USU to go small, and that's where I think, look, I don't know how they guard Purdue other than go in zone. And if you look at the back of Janicek's jersey.
Yeah, noticed that a minute
ago.
Either
he's been playing with paint or he's got a bunch of blood in the back of his jersey.
Yeah, possibly from the hand of Isaac Haas.
Remember, when Purdue lost to Villanova, they lost to Villanova because Villanova puts their power forward and center in the corners, and they spread you out, and Isaac Haas can't go cover out in the perimeter. Doesn't even try and cover out in the perimeter. The Aggies are probably better off in this game playing small, even though they don't want Barnaba in this early foul trouble.
Haas has been tended to. A little bandage on the middle finger right hand.
All right, so
he dunked earlier on his travel, and he might have ripped it on the rim. He dunks almost every shot he takes.
So he's probably taken more selfies with people in the last 2 days than maybe any time in his life. Remember, there's 8 men's teams here. There's 2 different brackets, and then now the women's team are coming in, and then there's guests to the Hard Rock Cafe, and when they see him walking, they just immediately know he's something special, want to take a picture with Isaac Haas. When the poor kid just wants to go lay out on the beach, get a little sun before that West Lafayette, winter sets in. Swanigan,
a couple of free throws, and Purdue leads by 5, 7-2. Yeah, the Purdue women are here for the women's portion of the Cancun Challenge. 10 teams in town, and when they walked in the gym tonight, this large Purdue fan base gave them a standing O. Janasek missed the shot. Swanigan rebounded. Thompson decides to take it. Jalen Moore is fouled on his rebound try.
Well, Purdue throws the ball inside more than any team in the country. Matter of fact, last year, I think North Carolina was third in post touches, but they had half as many post touches as Purdue had the entire season. That's how big a disparity there is. But for Thompson, that's not a bad shot, but it's a bad shot if your big guys don't touch the ball in the low post before you take it.
Swanigan checks out. Smotherman is on the floor for Purdue. Loose inside for a basket. Aggies score with Kobe McEwen.
Now, Kobe McEwen gets the score and Jalen Moore with a beautiful pass. But again, that's Isaac Haas because he doesn't move laterally to bump the cutter, costing his team a bucket.
Matthias gives it away to Vince Edwards. Haas working on Janasek.
Beautiful.
Good on the left side.
Now look, he's right-handed, and most right-handed players can go left shoulder. But once you can go right shoulder, now you're something special. It's good at passing out of the double team. Everything in the low post is top-notch for Isaac Haas.
Janasek trying to work on Haas. One second to shoot. Got it away in front of the buzzer, and on the putback try, fouled is Alex Dargenton after the miss by Rector. And a timeout on the floor. Purdue early on in the semifinal of the Cancun Challenge, up by 5. Purdue 9, Utah State 4 into the first half of this Cancun Challenge semifinal. 2 baskets for Utah State. Jalen Moore scored 1 and assisted 1.
Yeah, but keep an eye on Isaac Haas is not helping out on the screen, and Jalen Moore throws in for a little layup. But Haas's man will be used as a screener time and again here as Norbert Janasek has done a great job of freeing up his teammates. You see Jalen Moore. What a tremendous talent. So far this year, 18 points a game, shooting over 50%. We mentioned he passed his father, who works for the university, on the all-time scoring list. Smartly pulled his name out of the NBA draft. Has a chance to have an outstanding season for the Aggies.
On that Julius Erving Award watch list, as is Vince Edwards from Purdue. A couple of Irving watch list guys on the floor.
Edwards, on the other hand, really struggled. We mentioned Josh Hart constantly living in the lane. He didn't play well in that Villanova game. This is a team that didn't play well for, 36 minutes or so against Georgia State. Purdue had to go on a 20-0 run to end the game to beat Georgia State. They were down 9 in the waning moments.
That foul moments ago, Basil Smotherton picked it up. The guy who tracks down that rebound, Alex Dargenton, hit one of his 2 free throws, made it a 4-point game. Jalen Moore working with the basketball. Wrap around and a basket. Aggies convert with Norbert Janasek.
Yeah, that was more Kobe McElwain, who's a scorer, passer, do everything guard for the Aggies. What a great find the freshman made.
Freshman out of Canada, Kobe McEwen, puts the ball right where it needed to be, and Janasek had enough to work through the size of Purdue. Isaac Haas on the bench right now, the big man for Purdue. Swanigan open and scores.
And Caleb Swanigan has worked and worked and worked. Boilermaker fans know he wanted to go to the NBA draft for his freshman year. He didn't like what he heard from the scouts. Thought he needed to continue to lose weight, show that he could play on the perimeter a little bit more. He didn't pout about it. He's worked, and his game is the better because of it.
And the sophomore off to a good start. 20-rebound game against McNeese State, most at Purdue since 1972 for Swanigan. Out of bounds, that went. Utah State will have it.
You talked about McEwen. Wants the ability to beat his man off the bounce. And then Biggie Swanigan facing up. He's got a 5-man on him in Janasek. Janasek not used to covering that far out in the perimeter. Caleb Swanigan can score in the low post. He's a pretty good passer. Nice face-up jump shooter, continues to improve his range.
4 points for Swanigan. 4 different Boilermakers have already scored on the way to 11 points. 4 different Aggies have scored on the way to 7 points. Offensive foul.
Dargington did not set his feet on the little brush screen. I'm not sure he made contact. But if you don't set your feet, it's going to cost your team a possession.
Spike Albrecht has the basketball in his hands, the transfer in from Michigan.
Of course, the most famous 17 points in the history of Spike Albrecht's life. First half of the national championship game against Louisville.
Haas back in there, grabs a rebound, and there's a foul.
He's so big and strong, man. That's a big kid. Oh. Size 22 shoe. Dad was a football player at Alabama. Just a nice, unassuming kid, but he gets around that basket. He uses his size.
Uses his size on the inbound. Fouled, and free throws coming up. I can fit both of my feet in one of his shoes. That'd be convenient. Slalom. Spike Albrecht, the only player on the Purdue roster to have won an NCAA tournament game. He's out there now, up top on this free throw from Haas. Good on the first one. Hard Rock Hotel Riviera Maya, the all-inclusive host of the Cancun Challenge. Enjoy a rockstar getaway, lavish rooms, world-class dining, stunning tropical views. Start your all-inclusive experience at hrhrivieramaya.com. That's where we are at, Hard Rock Hotel Riviera Maya. Thad Anderson, Doug Gottlieb, and our entire crew, a multinational crew. Got a half a dozen or more of us from north of the border, and a representation from Comtech TV here in Mexico. Thanks to all of our crew for their hard work to get up and running here at the basketball room at Hard Rock Hotel Riviera Maya. 13-7 Purdue. For Utah State, Quinn Taylor had the basketball. Number 10 was handling. This is tipped out of bounds, stays with the Aggies.
Yeah, Carson Edwards just checked in, the freshman from Texas, who's just an outstanding, he can be a scoring machine. This is a diminutive little backcourt with he and Spike Albrecht, but two guys who can both stretch the defense and allows Edwards to play at more his familiar off-guard position.
Moore pushed on the baseline, and he's back up. Purdue setting up for points. Swanigan working with Haas, a whistle and a bumping foul from behind Isaac Haas, and that's charged to Norbert Janasek.
Well, the defensive play was spectacular from Purdue. It's not going to make any highlight tapes, but Basil Smotherman did a tremendous job. It's essentially what Utah State's running is a Princeton set, trying to get a little back cut. And the way Purdue wants to play is make you cut through their body. And Smotherman, after a year of redshirt, that body looks like a football player's body. There's no way that Jalen Moore was going to post him up.
Smotherman checks out. Vince Edwards replaced him. Aggies bring on that man, Sam Merrill, out of Bountiful, Utah. He replaces Janasek, who has 2 personal fouls. 4 different interior players for Utah State have fouls. 3 of them have 2 fouls already. So Purdue using that size, draw fouls early, dictate the game. And your comment about going small is going to be realized early on for Utah State. Tipped out of bounds, last touched.
But at some
Utah State.
Some point they're going to run out of guys. But yes, they're going to go small. Now McEwen is going to get a chance to play some point along with Merrill. But you go in there, you got big Isaac Haas. You got to find a way to avoid the shot blocker with his hands and get to his body to potentially draw the foul.
The 1-3-1 zone. Aggies see a shot from Edwards miss. Haas is there, puts it back up and in. Unstoppable.
That's the hard part. Like Carson Edwards is a very good scorer. I mean, he struggled with his jump shot. Only a freshman, shooting a little bit quick. but he's a very good shooter scorer. They want him to take open shots. The problem with the zone is it's hard for block-out assignments, especially with a guy like Haas.
Traveling call against Kobe McEwen. That's a turnover into the hands of Purdue, already leading by 9. 11:57 to go. First half from Cancun. 7-0 run for Purdue over the last 2.5 minutes has them on top 16-7, dressing for success at the Hard Rock Hotel Riviera Maya. Boilers fans in force. Isaac Haas, 7 points in 7 minutes.
He's been tremendous. You know, he had 22 points against Villanova, and the only reason he didn't have 30 was because he's in foul trouble the entire first half. Just a dominant animal on the boards, but I thought the ability to show he could go over his right shoulder is more impressive than anything else he's done so far in this first half. He continues to develop his low post game as he improves defensively. It's going to come down to his effectiveness moving laterally defensively, not just the upside of the Boilers, but also his own pro potential, whether it's this or next year in the NBA.
Albrecht has it, 15 seconds on the shot clock for Purdue. Swanigan takes it, Tres Puntos. Swanigan's good.
I mean, what are you going to do? You got Haas inside. You got Spike Albrecht, who you have to respect as a shooter, but can just simply run a team coming off a ball screen. You got to help on one of the two. You help on Caleb Swanigan, he makes you pay.
Deep three, good. First points in the last 3+ minutes for the Aggies.
Julian Pierre, he got the matchup he wanted, had Isaac Hayes on him. Doesn't matter because Vince Edwards comes back and is good to get the old-fashioned three-point play.
The Uno style coming for Edwards on the Aggies foul. That's 8 fouls committed by Utah State.
Now, Vince Edwards just driving past Merrill and kind of big boying him to the basket.
First foul for Sam Merrill. P.J. Thompson just checked back in, replacing Spike Albrecht. Utah State in some trouble early. 22-10 Purdue off and running. In between a couple of defenders, Sam Merrill.
Well, this is the smaller lineup for Utah State. Jalen Moore, who has played the power forward, but I mean, you look at him as compared to Biggie Swanigan. Right now, if you're Purdue, you need to throw the ball inside to the low post to Swanigan. You want to try and either get Jalen Moore in foul trouble or get an easy bucket.
Swanigan gives it back to Vince Edwards. Edwards shoots. Smart decision by Jalen Moore to run that down in the corner, secure the basketball, don't assume the out of bounds. Drive around Haas, not going to work for Kobe McEwen. Edwards, follow try, foul, Boilermakers underneath. And it's against Isaac Haas. First foul for Haas. Purdue sends back Dakota Mathias. He'll take the spot of Carson Edwards. You talked about Edwards scoring proficiency. 18 points against McNeese State. Most points in an opener for a freshman since 2005 for Purdue. Showing a glimpse of what he's all about, Carson Edwards. Up top, Quinn Taylor handles for Utah State. Gives it to Moore. Purdue shooting 50% compared to 35% for Utah State here in a small gym atmosphere, a ballroom. It becomes an arena for a week around Thanksgiving in Cancun. And the Riviera Maya. Haas spins,
too big,
scores.
Too strong, too good.
Haas, 9 points in 9 minutes. Those 22 points he talked about against Villanova, he scored those in 20 minutes of play, more than a point a minute, and he's right on a point a minute tonight.
It's really hard to determine how good they are versus Villanova. The foul trouble for both teams made it hard to watch.
Julian Perry to the basket. Utah State needed a bucket, and Perry delivers.
And Perry had a 3. Now Perry gets a drive.
Rim out on Swanigan. The rebound for Julian Perry, active. Jalen Moore, Tres Puntos knocking it down, and Utah State resurging back into the game.
Jalen Moore's ability to make it at the next level is not going to just depend upon that shot, but then his ability to defend like he is now. If he can defend multiple positions and be a 3-and-D guy, he can collect checks in the NBA.
Foul called against Sam Merrill.
Watch Isaac Haas. Catch it, keep it high, quick to the hook before a double team can come. And then Jalen Moore, the quick release on Biggie Swanigan, who's a little bit slow to close out, but not a terrible closeout. That's just an outstanding shot from a talented player.
Second foul for Sam Merrill. 9 fouls committed by Utah State with 8:36 to go first half.
You know what's funny is Purdue came into the game leading the country in fouls committed. But they're going to make you foul them as well.
Dakota Mathias. Mathias again from the line. That one rattles out. 8th rebound of the contest for Utah State compared to 10 for Purdue.
Thompson, there's nothing he can do there. Got a foul. We saw that in the first game. Remember, there's 2 decisions you have to make if you're P.J. Thompson, or the 2 decisions if you're a 5'10" point guard and you get caught in a big guy.
Flop or foul.
Correct.
We saw
That's like fight or flight. That's like fight or flight, right?
Flop or foul.
Flop or foul.
Gore Barnaba's back in there with 2 fouls. And Barnaba traveled. But Tim Duryea, the head coach for Utah State, rolling the dice a little bit here with one of his starters, a big man, 6'8" junior Gore Barnaba, grew up in Minnesota, born in Sudan, played at Missouri State West Plains, a JUCO transfer. There's Coach Tim Duryea, second season at the helm, but spent 14 seasons as an assistant coach at Utah State. How about that paying off?
Well, Stu Morrill did an incredible job with Utah State. First, they were the dominant team in the Big West. Then they ultimately became the same thing in the WAC. The step up to the Mountain West has been harder, no question.
Thompson, shot and miss, bounces out. Thompson gets it back. And in the lane, good defensive work from Shane Rector initially on a ball deflection and then taking the charge. We're at a timeout on the floor with Purdue up by 8 in Cancun. This is Holiday Hoops presented by Citizen Watch.
You still have a body of work that was pretty good, and you got to build on it. So we were able to go to Spain. We lost a couple really good defenders in Hammonds and Rafael Davis, and so trying to find our identity as a defensive team right now is really important. And so for us, just not getting caught up in that. We obviously want to play better at the end of the year, but you still got to get there first. And last year, we lost 1 non-conference game. We got 3rd in our league. So we just want to continue to build on what we accomplished in the past couple years and get better.
Well, last year for Purdue shaped up nicely into the tournament, and another disappointment in round 1.
Well, look, Purdue's been snake bit. Robbie Hummel gets hurt, and then going back a couple years ago, and then last year they're up 13 points with 4 to go and lose to Arkansas Little Rock, Chris Beard's club. Of course, we just saw Chris Beard coach Texas Tech. That's kind of the story of Purdue basketball. Even going back to Gene Cady, I remember in 2000 when I was a senior, they had one of the elite teams in the country. They lost to Wisconsin in the Elite Eight. Never been to a Final Four since 1980, and it's one of those things which, at some point, you got to get over the curse. My big question I asked Mac Painter was, how much carryover is there from that? And he said, look, we went to Spain, we played a lot of basketball, we asked some different guys, and right now it's not on our mind. But of course, you lose to Cincinnati in a close game, you lose to Little Rock the way you lost to Little Rock. When they get to the NCAA tournament this year, they'll have to, at some point, eradicate those demons.
It's the Utah State bench keeping the Aggies in this 8 bench points. And they're behind by 8. Shot clock beater, I suppose. Rebounded just in time to avoid the horn on the shot clock. Purdue will keep the flow going. It's 7 minutes left in the first half, up by 8.
So much better defensively without Haas in the game because they can switch every screen.
Ball bounces away and Shane Rector grabs it, turned over by the Boilermakers. On the run, Uno, count it, and a free throw. Alex Dargenton.
Well, you mentioned Dargenton, but they're fortunate that Basil Smotherman misplayed the basketball and a nice little pass from Shane Rector. Here's how important a point guard is to a coach. So, Duryea gets the job at Utah State. And remember, he wasn't the first choice. There are other coaches that reportedly were offered the job. But he finally gets his dream job as a longtime assistant there. That day, he got on a plane and went and saw Shane Rector play because he said, we have to have a point guard in order to compete in the Mountain West. And Shane Rector was his first choice.
Rector, a senior. Each of the last 2 games has tied his career high with 7 assists. The and one was good for Utah State. They're back within 5. They fend off a Swanigan try. Can get it to 1 possession. Kicked by Albrecht, and it will stay with Utah State. Talking about those 2 postseason disappointments for Purdue. Remember, in 2014, they finished in the last place in the Big Ten. So what would you rather have, that or a couple of round 1 heartbreaking exits?
That was my question to him is, and unfortunately, we're not just a result-oriented business. We're a result in the NCAA tournament. Like, look, Michigan State had a great year last year. They lost in the first game as well. They won the Big Ten tournament in a great game against Purdue, and nobody recalls that because we just remember the final result. But, 66 other teams lose their final game in the NCAA tournament as well, regardless of round.
Utah State on a 10-4 run, could not convert on that try to get within 1 possession. Too tall, and that's hard to do for Isaac Haas. Over the top, and Utah State takes it away. Turnovers, 5 by Utah State, 6 committed by Purdue. Turnover there. Now each team has 6. Matthias on the steal.
What
Bounce
a great
to Albrecht.
play from Matthias. That's not a foul.
Albrecht kept it alive. Matthias, no shot. Not going to count.
They're going to call an illegal screen, and I think all he was doing was walking down the floor. Great play from Dakota Matthias, who cuts the screen, reads the play, and Spike Albrecht tries to draw the foul. I guess that's not a foul, but this is called a moving pick, so this is a smart play. Watch. He just kind of starts walking and moving, and I guess wasn't much contact created.
Shane Rector, the hustle back defense for Utah State, did not get called for the foul, and then Swanigan did. Swanigan has 2 fouls.
A great play from Smotherman. Smotherman redshirted last year. There's just a log jam of players. Vince Edwards played the small forward. He's a power forward. You had Caleb Swanigan. You got Haas. Remember, they had A.J. Hammonds, of course, drafted in the NBA draft. So there was no minutes to be had.
Packed house.
But he did not pout about it. Worked on his body and is back earning minutes here with the Boilermakers.
Still 25-20. Aggies have been trying to get this to a 1-possession game. They do, and they'll shoot a free throw. Shane Rector asserting himself for the Aggies.
And this is smart from Rector. Rector just drives to Smotherman, and Smotherman laterally can't keep up with him much. Can't keep up with him, gets to the body, creates the contact, and 1. And when you're Smotherman, you just got to back and sink back because Rector hasn't made a shot and hasn't looked good shooting the basketball so far in this game.
Yeah, now 1 of 5 from the floor after that conversion for Rector. For Basil Smotherman, his 2nd foul.
It's a great name, though, right? Basil Smotherman is an all-time name. I've always felt from afar, but now I'm getting a chance to call his name. I hope he continues to play well because I like saying the name Basil Smotherman.
Yeah, keep it relevant. Purdue turnovers on 4 of their last 5 possessions. Their scoring drought nearing 4 minutes of clock time. Not ended here and taken away by Gore Barnaba. Jalen Moore Kept it in somehow, and the miss inside. Try again and score. Utah State, Alex Dargington. Timeout, Purdue. We're tied at 25. Utah State roaring back from the big gap. They've got it evened up in Cancun. (25-25). Utah State was down by as many as 12. They've evened it up in Cancun, this semifinal of the Cancun Challenge. Join us Friday afternoon from the Gridiron. Northern Illinois takes on Kent State, 12 Eastern. And then star running back Jeremy McNichols and the 20th ranked Boise State Broncos battle the Falcons of Air Force, 3:30 p.m. only on the 24-hour home of CBS Sports. A post-Thanksgiving feast on Friday. Northern Illinois, Kent State, Boise State, Air Force.
Boise State, the highest rated non-Power 5 in the latest college football playoff poll.
How about those Broncos doing it again? Entertainment abounds every football season in Idaho.
Now, when Caleb Swanigan was in the game, Purdue had complete control. Isaac Haas came back into the game. He's been fine. The rest of the Boilermakers haven't played well.
Matthias, 3 puntos. Purdue needed that. Utah State was on a 15-3 run to even it up at 25 all. Matthias scored from deep, scoring from inside is Jalen Moore. Moore with 7 points. Matthias creates a seam, missed his shot, and Dargington takes the rebound. Offensive foul. That is Rector's foul.
Well, you mentioned he's one of the best players that you've never heard of. Jalen Moore's a problem inside. Whether he's hitting threes or just posting up and beasting you, the Utah State senior keeping the Aggies within 1 here in Cancun.
Some people like chocolate fountains, but I know, Doug, that's your favorite kind of fountain there, a basketball fountain.
Oh, I thought there was tequila in there. My mistake.
Bon Voyage DMC, the premier and trusted partner for transportation at the Cancun Challenge, giving you unforgettable experiences. BonVoyageDMC.com. Thanks to Bon Voyage Travel. They'll be hauling us out of here on Thursday morning back to the airport. By then, we'll know who wins the Cancun Challenge, and Purdue right now leading by 1 over Utah State. Auburn is in the championship game tomorrow night, having defeated Texas Tech by 2 earlier tonight. And in the Big Ten, previous winners of this Cancun Challenge, Illinois in 2011, Wisconsin won it in 2013, and Maryland won it last year.
And Maryland was outstanding last year. Purdue was up 12 with 11 minutes to go. And taking Caleb Swanigan out of the game, and Basil Smotherman has just not been able to defend. They haven't gotten Isaac Haas touches down low. Vince Edwards continues to struggle a little bit. Surprised how close this game has gotten.
Inside, score, and a free throw. And go to Caleb Swanigan.
Look, I think Purdue is very well coached, and the reason they're very well coached is well-coached teams get the ball to the guys that are their best players, especially when they're their interior players. And they had gone about 8 possessions without getting a low post touch. So you sub Biggie Swanigan in, feed that big fella till he burps.
Hits the free throw. Julian Perry, first personal foul, created that and one for Swanigan. 31-27. Purdue back up by 4.
This is that same little Princeton series.
3. No good. Swanigan clears it. Shot try by Cody McEwen for the Aggies.
Tim Duryea's team's able to get the shots they want. They got to convert.
Swanigan now going to work, as you said. Going to have to kick this out. Janasek denied him. Albrecht couldn't get his space. Into the rim and
Carson Edwards.
Carson Edwards.
But Carson Edwards is a scoring guard. He's the size of a point guard. He's going to be able to get buckets for Purdue for 4 years. It's just going to be a matter of, can he hide his lack of size? Can they put somebody next to him that can run a team?
Swanigan Matthias fought momentarily, and smart to give it to Swanigan. He's nearing a double-double in the first half. 10 points, 8 boards for Swanigan. Coming up at the half, it's AT&T at the half. Brent, Steve, John in our CBS Sports Network studio. That's AT&T at the half. Coming up when we take a break from Hard Rock Hotel Riviera Maya.
Well, we mentioned Vince Edwards, of course. Dad Bill was a tremendous player at Wright State. This is a guy with a high basketball IQ.
Isaac Haas returns to the floor.
But so much of college basketball is about creating mismatches. And Vince Edwards at the 4 is a problem. Like, that's a tough cover for most college power forwards, especially in the Big Ten. Vince Edwards playing on the perimeter, it's a completely different skill set, one that he hasn't exactly been quick to be great at.
Shane Rector also came back in on that last horn. Haas, who just checked in, scores on the left side.
Well, he showed the counter move. He loves to go to that right-hand hook over the left shoulder, but the ability to have a counter move, that's big-time stuff. He's a monster in there.
11 points for Isaac Haas. That leads all scorers. And this goes out, and it's Purdue basketball.
And just Haas down low, he takes his time, he goes into his move, goes into his stuff. Watch Dakota Matthias. Nice little pass right into his bread basket. Tremendous.
Timeout taken by Utah State. They're down by 9. Purdue 36, Utah State 27, nearing halftime at the Cancun Challenge semifinals. Tomorrow night, 8 Eastern, join us for a behind-the-scenes look at this year's Veterans Classic, featuring a special homecoming for Marquette's Steve Wojciechowski, Bryce Drew's coaching debut at Vanderbilt, much more. Hoops Confidential Veterans Classic, presented by Northwestern Mutual, right here on the 24-hour home of CBS Sports.
Isaac Haas should touch the ball. Well, I guess if you get a wide open jump shot, it doesn't matter. But that's a hard shot. A lot of guys know those high posts, they're wide open, but you have to make a 180-degree turn to shoot the basketball. Haas has got to get a touch every time down. Doesn't mean he has to shoot every time down. Has to get a touch.
Shane Rector kicks it back up top to Quinn Taylor, gives it back to Rector. Well, shot blocked by Vince Edwards, and it's battled for. Haas had it slapped away. Rector will be called for the foul. Rector's second foul. 10 committed by Utah State, and 9 have been called against Purdue in the first half.
Well, Tim Duryea's team did a very good job of getting back within 1. But because of foul trouble, and frankly because of Caleb Swanigan and Isaac Haas, they've been unable to get stops ever since it was 28-27. I would try and keep trying to post up Jalen Moore. Need to work on getting Jalen Moore the ball on the perimeter where he can go to work, especially if he's got a bigger player. Look, Carson Edwards with the steal. Now he's got Bowson Smotherman on him, who's more of a power forward. Even though he's smaller than him, you want to take him out away from the floor.
Pressure staying on from Carson Edwards. He's screened by Quinn Taylor. And into the forecourt comes Shane Rector.
And Smotherman just fouling him.
Janasek working inside. Foul for Smotherman. 3 personals now for Basil Smotherman.
I mean, he just, for no reason at all, he's just, like maybe in the Big Ten, in a home game in the Big Ten when they stop calling fouls by mid-February, you might get away with that once. but he fouled him 3 times, and all Jalen Moore was trying to do was set a screen. That's silly. That's just giving away points.
Moore left one out there, missed the free throw. Aggies, a couple of subs, Kobe McEwen and Alex Dargington.
When Moore first got to USU, he used to rock the goggles. He's always had the fro going, but he used to have the goggles. And it was an extremely, I don't know if it's strong or awkward look. Now it's like his whole body's filled out.
Yeah, those would fog up down here in Cancun, a little more humid. You can get away with that in Logan, Utah. The goggle fog. Foggle.
The foggle. I like that.
Problem at the free throw line for Jalen Moore. 38-27 Purdue. Boilermakers saw a 12-point lead disappear. They've got it back up to 11. No conversion on this trip down. About 50 seconds left now, first half. On the end line, out of bounds. Aggies lose it. Julian Perry turned it over.
Utah State had a little bit of success in this last possession with Jalen Moore on a point drop zone where you put your small forward at the top of the zone, but now they're back in a little man-to-man.
Scoring drought for Utah State, going to hit 4 minutes after they did all that work to get back to even. Ran out of steam. Carson Edwards, whistle came before the shot.
And Carson Edwards is a tremendous scorer. Played with De'Aaron Fox in AAU basketball. Of course, De'Aaron Fox is the freshman star point guard for Kentucky. I was talking with Matt Painter about him, and he said, look, Carson is so focused on scoring, and he's a tremendous scorer, that whatever we run, we want him to catch the 3rd or 4th pass. Because that way it gives us a chance to get a couple other guys a touch, and then when he gets it, he can go do his thing. But he is electrifying with the basketball.
We see Grady Eifert check in for Purdue. Sam Merrill's back on the floor for the Aggies, along with Dargington. Barnabas out there. Moore. And Kobe McEwen, the free throw shooter right there. Carson Edwards. Got it. Got one of 2. It's a 12-point lead. The Aggies bring it up. No shot clock here. Three seconds left in the first half. Shot look opens up, no good from Kobe McEwen. Not much happening on that half-ending possession. 39-27, Purdue gives away a 12-point lead and then rebuilds it before the half.
Well, when they've had Haas in the game, when they've had Swanigan in the game, and when they've gotten them the basketball, they've had complete control, and Utah State has been mired in foul trouble. When they've tried to, make plays without their big guys touching the basketball, Utah State has been very competitive.
Purdue closes the first half on a 14-2 run. Boilers have the advantage at the break. Coming up next, AT&T at the half.